With demand for retro sports cars on the rise, so customization shops all over the world are resurrecting some of the most beautiful Italian cars from the last century. Today, we're talking about the most exciting Italian sports cars with bespoke customizations and modernized powertrains. We welcome you to automotive territory. Let's get started.
Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale. This new supercar was meticulously developed by Alfa Romeo and a famous Italian coach builder, Touring Superleggera. With this collaboration, they were hoping to achieve three main targets. 1. Pay homage to the brand's iconic 33 Stradale model that was originally developed in the 1960s. 2. Bid farewell to the internal combustion technology, as this will be the last ICE-powered model in the brand's history. And 3. Preview the electrified future of the brand. For the first time in Alfa Romeo's history, clients would be able to opt in for an all-electric powertrain. Despite being type-approved for riding on public roads, the upcoming 33 Stradale was developed to shine on the racing track. In its internal combustion engine version, this two-seater relies on a twin-turbo V6 engine, capable of pushing out 620 horsepower, while the electric powertrain can push out 750 horsepower. Regardless of the powertrain choice, you can expect 207 mph top speed capabilities and a 0 to 60 mph acceleration time under 3 seconds. The comfort on the road and sharp handling are guaranteed by a double-arm suspension with active shock absorbers, while the stopping power comes courtesy of Brembo carbon ceramic brakes that are controlled by the brake-by-wire braking system. As the car's name suggests, there will be a limited production of only 33 units. Each client would be treated to an unprecedented level of customization options. As a result, the uniqueness of each model is guaranteed. Well, what else do you expect to get for $1.83 million of your hard-earned money? Bizzarrini 5300 GT Corsa Revival. 24 handcrafted copies of the Le Mans winning racers by ex-Ferrari chief designer will be coming back thanks to the Bizzarrini Continuation Series. Based on the authentic factory drawings and blueprints, the 5300 GT Corsa Revival uses a tubular steel frame and aerodynamic bodywork made of lightweight materials that lowered the overall weight to 2,711 pounds. Just like modern supercars, the Corsa Revival sports a perfect 50-50 weight distribution and is powered by a period-specific V8 engine. With a 5.3-liter displacement, this unit can push out up to 400 horsepower. To highlight its racing heritage and prepare for modern track days, these automotive masterpieces get FIA-certified 6-point roll cages, racing seats, and a motorsport fuel cell. Totem Alfa. This Italian coach builder has created the Alfa Romeo Giulia that never was. The sporty classic is offered with either an all-electric powertrain or an ICE power unit. During every build, the carbon fiber monocoque is merged with the donor chassis. However, to handle extra power, Totem introduced high-resistance steel components, in-house double wishbone suspension with R53 dampers, and a braking system from Brembo. The 2.8-liter 90-degree V6 occupies a central front position and uses a double turbocharger with an electronically managed twin-stage sequential system. Stage 1 and 2 performance tunes yield 600 and 750 horsepower respectively. As a pure sports car, the Totem GT Super boasts a 6-speed manual gearbox, rear-wheel drive, and a gear-integrated limited-slip differential. The final touch of every Totem car is an interior decorated with the finest Italian leathers, fabrics, Alcantara, and old-school styled instruments. Finally, the brand has recently announced a limited GTA Modificata version that weighs just 2,414 pounds, while its 3.2-liter V6 transfers 810 horsepower to the rear wheels through a 6-speed sequential gearbox. Kimera Evo 38. Today, Italy is not only the home of some of the world's most renowned performance car makers, but also a center of the emerging Restomod movement. Here, a handful of small automotive shops are trying to celebrate the country's motoring heritage by restoring its most influential actors. Kimera Automobili is one of such shops, and it's all about restoring Lancia's World Rally Cars racing glory. The company has recently unveiled its second model called the Evo 038. This ultra-limited 38-unit supercar gets a larger turbocharger, some hardware revisions, an all-wheel drive setup, and a manual transmission. As a proper Lancia, Kimera is powered by an Italtecnica 2.1-liter four-cylinder turbo that channels close to 600 horsepower to both axles using a 6-speed manual transmission with shorter gear ratios. The Evo 38 has an electro-hydraulic differential controllable from inside the cabin, and its suspension was tweaked with electronically controlled shock absorbers. M.A.T. Lancia Stratos. Even though this year Lancia has announced a new car for the first time in many years, this Italian brand has slim chances of reclaiming its previous glory as a performance automobile manufacturer. Luckily, a Turin-based boutique car manufacturer called the M.A.T. has recently announced the new Stratos, a reimagined version of Lancia's iconic rear mid-engine sports car from the 1970s. In this 25-unit limited production run, the M.A.T. wanted to fuse the analog driving sensation with the latest achievements in automotive design and manufacturing. The creation of this model starts with a Ferrari donor that gets a shortened wheelbase, a lightweight carbon fiber bodywork with a slightly modernized design, and a 4.3-liter V8 engine mated to a 6-speed manual gearbox. The resulting rear-wheel drive sports car weighs 2,749 pounds and can show a 0 to 60 acceleration time of 3.3 seconds, owing to the motor's 497 horsepower output and 383 pound-feet torque capabilities. The top speed is capped at 205 miles per hour. Considering the car's limited edition nature, the company offers a full tailor-made service where every lucky owner gets to work with the M.A.T. team to pick the color and the materials that fit just right. Zagato Mostro Barchetta. Over the years, this Italian coach-building company has produced many fine automotive masterpieces, including the Mostro Coupe and its newer Barchetta open-top variation. Inspired by the Maserati 450S Coupe, the model mimics the 1950s racers and sports a lightweight design with a perfect 50-50 weight distribution. Its creators wanted to achieve a purely analog driving experience, so they used no modern driving aids like electronic traction control. A carbon fiber chassis with a manual sequential 6-speed gearbox mounted to the frontal block, and two powerful engine options. It could be either a 4.2-liter Maserati V8 with a 408 horsepower yield, or the latest generation 3.0-liter V6 that makes 612 horsepower and is found in the Maserati MC20 supercar. Mecanica Alma Sprint. Engineers from a Portugal-based shop want to put back on the road a series of 20 meticulously crafted Sprint 6-seat concepts by Alfa Romeo. The story of this model is quite interesting considering that it never went into production, despite being tasked with competing with Group B rally racing in the 1980s. The build gets redesigned bodywork, modern headlights, a ducktail spoiler, and a set of retro-inspired wheels. A series of upgrades lowered the weight to 1,939 pounds, so with a reworked 1.8-liter Alfa Romeo 4-cylinder boxer, a nimble throttle response, and agile handling are guaranteed. The engine works with a pair of carburetors with velocity stacks and produces 160 horsepower of peak output. It's channeled through a 5-speed manual gearbox and applied to the front wheels. The model also boasts a reworked suspension setup with adjustable dampers, brakes with vented discs, and a neat interior with a leather-wrapped steering wheel, sport seats with 4-point harnesses, and analog gauges. Niels van Roij designed Breadvan Hommage. Back in 1962, the then-new Ferrari 250 GTO was off-limits as a racing platform for private owners. So engineer Giotto Bizzarrini was hired to modify a 250 GT SWB competition into a one-of-a-kind, aerodynamically superior unit. It got the nickname Breadvan for its shooting brake silhouette. In modern days, the Dutch design studio of Niels van Roij is paying homage to this oddity with a fully rebodied, one-off coach-building commission. Most likely based on a Ferrari 550 Maranello, this car keeps the naturally aspirated 5.5-liter 65-degree V12. It makes 485 horsepower and 419 pound-feet, and in theory should do 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. It rides on bespoke wheels, gets Koni shocks, and a handmade blue Alcantara and carbon fiber interior. Eccentrica V12. The Diablo is one of the most recognizable supercars of the 1990s and the first production Lamborghini to be capable of reaching 200 miles per hour. The vision of the revitalized Italian exotic comes from the newly established startup from San Marino. This revitalized Lamborghini rides on an upgraded suspension with new active dampers and a convenient front lift system to deal with speed bumps. There are some structural composite reinforcements, standard power steering, and stopping power from Brembo. The model will retain the scissor doors, pop-up headlights, and the wedge-shaped body, but there are new 19-inch wheels and DRLs. The creators chose not to mess up the classic V12 too much. Therefore, the 5.7-liter gets an updated 6-speed manual with different ratios and a custom center exit exhaust system. The produced 550 horsepower and 442 pound-feet of torque are transferred to the rear wheels. Lastly, the refreshed cabin is devoid of all plastics, has improved ergonomics, and a retro-vibing digital dash. Officine Fioravanti. This Turin-based automotive company produced a variety of tasteful restomods and customizations, including the Testarossa. The coordinated work of the company's designers and engineers yielded a spectacular sports car, with period-correct white paint on the outside, modern suspension and braking setups, bespoke wheels, and a classic cabin that cleverly hides modern driving aids. The dieting measures lowered the weight by 287 pounds, while the flat 12 engine got reworked and linked to a new ECU to make more power. With a 9,000 RPM redline, the unit produces 492 horsepower, lifting the top speed estimations to 200 miles per hour. Finally, the brand also teased an upcoming project, which involves the restoration of the iconic Ferrari F40. Evoluto 355. A British automotive startup wants to roll back the clock and bring back analog supercars of the 90s. Their latest creation is the Ferrari 355, which was redesigned and mechanically reworked to provide 21st-century reliability. Currently, the plan is to produce 55 units of this modern classic. The engine rebuild process involves the replacement of upwards of 200 parts and results in the output boost of 420 horsepower and an 8,500 RPM redline. This 3.5-liter flat-plane crank V8 gets modern wiring with a new ECU, a 6-speed manual gearbox, and a titanium sports exhaust. The mechanical overhaul is topped off by Brembo 6-piston front and 4-piston rear brakes, while the visual changes include carbon fiber body panels, a reshaped front splitter, iconic 90s pop-up headlights, 4 round taillights, and 19-inch 5-spoke alloy wheels with Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires. The modern classic theme continues in the interior and can be further enhanced according to the owner's taste with a wide variety of customization options. Should we continue with the series and talk about classic cars from Germany, America, and Japan? Share your thoughts in the comments and follow us for more car news. See you next week, and may the torque be with you.